What if the biggest change in voting law isn't the ID requirement people are talking about, but the database system behind it? The Save America Act would require voters to prove citizenship with documents, but buried in the bill is another mechanism. States would have to send their voter rolls to the Department of Homeland Security for citizenship verification. That creates a national database cross-check system, and that's where the real controversy begins. The United States has a long history of voting barriers that looked neutral on paper, but had major real-world effects. Before the Voting Rights Act of 1965, one of the most common tools used to restrict voting was the literacy test. Voters were required to prove they could read or interpret legal text before registering. In theory, the rule applied to everyone. In practice, it was often used to block large numbers of eligible voters. The Voting Rights Act banned these practices by eliminating tests and administrative barriers used to limit voter access. Critics of the SAVE Act argue that modern documentation requirements could function as a new version of that system. Instead of testing literacy, the system tests access to paperwork and databases. Under the Save America Act, states would be required to verify voter citizenship through two main mechanisms. First is the document requirement. Voters must provide proof of citizenship such as a passport, an enhanced driver's license, a government ID combined with a birth certificate, a naturalization certificate, a consular report of birth abroad. But there's a technical complication. Most real ID driver's licenses do not actually list citizenship status. So even if a voter presents a valid real ID, they may still need to provide additional documents. That creates a multi-step verification process. The second mechanism is federal database verification. States would be required to send unredacted voter registration rolls to the Department of Homeland Security. DHS databases would then be used to verify citizenship. 1964, the 24th Amendment bans poll taxes in federal elections. 1965, the Voting Rights Act eliminates literacy tests and other voter suppression mechanisms. 1993, the National Voter Registration Act expands voter registration access. 2025, Representative Chip Roy introduces the SAVE Act. The House passes it. 2026, a revised version passes the House again and moves towards the Senate. Supporters say the SAVE Act improves election security, but critics point to what happened when similar systems were tried before. In Arizona, proof of citizenship requirements prevented tens of thousands of eligible voters from registering. In Kansas, a voter verification database flagged millions of potential mismatches, yet only a tiny number of actual illegal votes were found. Many of those mismatches came from simple issues like similar names, outdated records, data entry errors. Those examples raise concerns about what happens if the same approach is implemented nationwide. Another issue investigators highlight is the enhanced driver's license gap. Only 5 states currently issue enhanced driver's licenses that verify citizenship: Michigan, Minnesota, New York, Vermont, Washington. In the other 45 states, voters would likely need passports or multiple documents to comply. Research suggests over 21 million Americans do not have proof of citizenship readily available. The 24th Amendment states, "The right of citizens of the United States to vote shall not be denied or abridged by reason of failure to pay any poll tax or other tax." The SAVE Act itself does not charge voters a fee, but critics argue the documentation requirements may create a de facto poll tax. Replacing documents like birth certificates or passports often requires application fees, travel to government offices, processing time. Supporters say those requirements are necessary to protect elections. Opponents say they create financial and administrative barriers. If implemented fully, voter registration could involve 3 verification layers. First, document proof of citizenship. Second, additional paperwork when IDs don't show citizenship status. Third, federal database verification through DHS. Each layer adds another step in the process. The debate over the Save America Act is ultimately about where the balance between election security and voter access should be drawn. Supporters argue the law strengthens election integrity. Critics argue it introduces modern administrative barriers that echo earlier voting restrictions. And the most important question remains: if non-citizen voting is already illegal and extremely rare, should a nationwide verification system be built that could affect millions of eligible voters?